Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really fascinating transmission known as Crystic 232. Honestly, think of this less like a dry text and much more like a grounded, completely serene survival guide built specifically for the modern noise barrage we're all dealing with. If you've been feeling just totally overwhelmed by endless digital static, or if life lately feels like some sort of exhausting, glitchy simulation, well, consider this your official orientation manual. We're going to map out a completely different way to look at your energy, your focus, and your daily life, and we're going to arm you with some incredibly practical, esoteric tools to fiercely protect your peace. So let's start with a quick reality check. Seriously, have you noticed how entire afternoons just vanish while you scroll? Like weekends just blur together and suddenly a whole month feels like it lasted a week? The source material actually has a name for this. It calls it the time glitch. It's that bizarre feeling where life turns into a high-speed montage, and you are somehow just a passive spectator in your own world. It is exhausting, right? Your physical body is sitting completely still, maybe on the couch, but your mind is sprinting a marathon through 100 different synthetic realities. Look, if you're a 20-something trying to navigate today's hyper-connected, flashing light world, this feeling of being spiritually drained is not an accident. It's a deliberate glitch in the system. But the really good news, we can absolutely fix it. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, welcome to Soul School. Second, your inner architecture. Third, traps of the digital age. Fourth, defriending your energy. And finally, the night cycle mission. Okay, Section 1. Welcome to Soul School. Let's lay down the foundational ground rules of your reality. The core premise of Crystic 232-2 is that you are essentially living in a training ground. But to successfully navigate it, you've got to understand how energy actually operates, and that starts with karma. Now, I want you to completely forget the popular idea of karma as some kind of cosmic revenge system. People are always whispering, oh, karma's gonna get them, like it's an invisible punisher. But according to the text, karma is 100% neutral. It's literally just a mirror. It is the law of the circle. Think of your energy like a boomerang. When you send out light, maybe by acting with integrity or practicing a really difficult skill, it does its work out in the world and then returns to you with extra light attached, basically building up your spiritual bank account. But if you broadcast heavy, negative energy, it gathers weight out there and hits hard when it finally comes back. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is that this returning weight is just spiritual debt. It's just your own multiplied energy knocking on your front door asking to be handled. You want a different reflection? Simply change what you're broadcasting. But here's the catch. When that heavy energy returns and you mess up, which we all do, you have to be super careful about which internal voice you listen to. You actually have two very different reactions competing for your attention. Your Crystic Conscience sends you healthy remorse. It's this quiet, clean nudge saying, hey, you can do better, and it actually fuels a desire to change. It's specific and it's hopeful. However, external forces, which the text refers to as the tempters, they love to hijack that signal and twist it into paralyzing, toxic shame. They whisper, you didn't just do something wrong. You are wrong. You are broken. They desperately want you to just stare at your mistakes until you stop seeing a future for yourself, locking you into this miserable blame loop where you totally surrender your power. Recognizing the difference between these two voices, that is literally your first line of defense. Moving right along to Section 2, your inner architecture. Let's map out your actual energy grid. To really defend your energy, you have to completely shift your perspective from just pure physical biology to your spiritual blueprint. Think about it like this. Your body is just the hardware. Your soul, that is the software. In between your bones, muscles, and brain, there is a highly intricate energy grid. In Soul School, you learn pretty quickly that you are a carefully wired power plant. And understanding this isn't just some neat trivia to know, it is the exact mechanism by which you protect your light. So let's look at how this power plant is actually built. Your grid is made up of 7 main energy hubs running straight from the base of your spine all the way up to the top of your head. You've got the root for your grounding, the sacral for your creativity, the solar plexus, which is essentially your engine room for personal power. Then there's the heart for love, the throat for communication, the third eye for clear vision, and finally the crown, which acts like your own personal spiritual satellite dish. Now, when vibrant light flows cleanly from your crown to your feet and back up again, you feel amazing, energized, serene, focused. But when old grudges, constant digital distraction, or fear start creating blockages, that beautiful light hits sludge. The flow just stops dead. The text explicitly points out that this internal stuckness is at the very core of that paralyzing failure to launch feeling haunting so many young adults today. Which brings us to Section 3, Traps of the Digital Age. let's identify the external threats targeting that grid. Our modern environment is essentially a deliberate 24/7 noise barrage. I mean, it's constant sound. We have earbuds in from the moment we wake up until we fall asleep. This literal wall of synthetic noise blocks deep thinking, it glitches your brain, and it totally smothers the quiet whispers of your Crystic conscience. It intentionally keeps your mind in this shallow, highly reactive mode. Add to that the intense pressure of the imaginary audience on social media, where you are constantly pushed to maintain this clean, perfectly contemporary, but entirely synthetic digital avatar. Hours of this rapid-fire, overstimulating junk completely gum up your third eye, your vision center. Your life energy is being siphoned off just to maintain a ghost on a screen, leaving you as a totally passive viewer of your own life. And all of this feeds directly into the trap of comparison culture. The system floods your feeds with curated perfection, quietly telling you day in and day out that you are less. It traps you in this exhausting game of worldly status, which is 100% based on having money, the right clothes, clout. Let's be real for a second. Dedicating your very limited life force to meticulously color coordinating a grid for strangers you will never even meet is profoundly exhausting. The survival guide completely contrasts this hollow game with true nobility, which is entirely about being. It's about knowing you have inherent worth as spiritual royalty before you ever buy a single thing. Instead of curating a flawless digital brand, the goal is to curate your internal brand, pure integrity. When your thoughts, words, and actions lined up perfectly, you carry this quiet, steady, grounded confidence that absolutely cannot be hacked by any algorithm. Now, another major trap targeting your crown and third eye centers is intellectual arrogance. It's that smug little whisper that says, well, if science hasn't proven it in the lab, it doesn't exist, trapping you in an endless looping cycle of overanalyzing everything. The guide draws a razor-sharp line here between information and gnosis. Information is like reading 100 books about swimming. Gnosis, on the other hand, is the exact moment you are actually in the water and your body suddenly just understands how to float. True understanding isn't just about memorizing facts. It comes with this warm, undeniable click of recognition right in your heart. The absolute deepest truths are simple, but the digital age tries to bury them under oceans of mindless, complex content just to make your soul's map look way too complicated to even try following. All right, Section 4. Defending your energy. Let's finally look at your actionable, esoteric arsenal. First up is taking back control of your own soundscape with the silence test. The guide actually challenges you to go without any music, no background TV, 0 podcasts for 1 full hour a day. Try it, because if pure silence makes you anxious or twitchy, that is a glaring sign that the noise barrage already has its hooks deep in you. Relearning how to just be comfortable in pure, grounded silence, without glitchy media there to numb you out, is a massive spiritual win. It gives your aura time to heal and actually creates the space for you to hear your own internal guidance again. Next up is the ultimate spiritual depth clearer, and this is a real game changer, the violet flame. You absolutely do not have to carry the heavy weight of your past mistakes forever. The violet flame acts as a spiritual solvent for corrupted energy. The process is remarkably simple. First, you visualize a beautiful, vibrant, iridescent violet fire swirling all around your body. Second, you set the intent, actively calling on it to consume the cause and effect of your mistakes. And third, visualize the result. Actually picture those gray, heavy threads of worry, toxic shame, or misused energy just burning up and completely dissolving. Using this tool cauterizes the holes in your aura. You aren't just erasing consequences, you are clearing the stuck electrical charge so you can move forward, completely free. Finally, Section 5, the Night Cycle Mission. Let's talk about navigating the astral plane. So according to Crystic Code 230-2, every single night, your physical body shuts down, sure, but your soul absolutely does not. Sleep is not an off switch. It is literally an elevator ride into the astral plane. And the astral plane splits based purely on vibration. You can go down to the lower basement traps. These are sticky zones full of fear, looping nightmares, and static that's designed to drain your energy so you wake up totally exhausted. Or you can travel up to the higher classrooms of light, where you actually study, heal, and wake up with a quiet sense of purpose. And here is the real kicker. Where you travel on that elevator depends almost entirely on your exact state of mind right before you fall asleep. Because those dark forces love to use the night to try and undo all your day's progress, usually through late-night doom scrolling or heavy media right before bed, you need a bedtime protection ritual to set your elevator dial to those higher floors. It's just 3 steps. Step 1. Read to feed. For the last 10 minutes of your day, ditch the screens entirely and read something elevating. You are literally eating the energy of those words. Step 2. Call for protection. Mentally ask for a brilliant blue flame shield around your body and soul. Step 3. Seal the room. Just visualize a soft, serene violet mist filling your bedroom, dissolving any lurking worry or static. This ridiculously simple ritual turns your sleep into a massive spiritual investment, ensuring you wake up clear-headed, grounded, and fully present. And that brings us to the absolute ultimate question that this survival guide leaves us with. When you finally clear out your inner architecture, when you shut out the relentless noise barrage, and when you reclaim your night cycle, you stop living in the shadows of a digital simulation. You stop trading your real, vibrant, irreplaceable life for cheap dopamine blips. So what's it going to be? Are you going to remain a passive spectator, just an extra endlessly scrolling in someone else's movie? Or are you ready to step into your true nobility, reclaim the present moment, and take back the pen? The choice and the power is entirely yours.